is like you did it as a family. Because whenever we sacrifice individually, it's only us that grow. Your character is developed, you see God provide, but whenever you do it as a family, like everyone grows, everyone faiths grow. Like, I mean, all your family, they have seen the walking on the water, the God providing, the God moving. So when you're doing things for the future, man, bring your family along the journey, right? Don't just carry the burden on yourself, like share the load. And for marriages, I think sometimes we do that too in marriage, right? You just carry the burden alone. Hey, invite your spouse into the journey so that both grow, right? What are some key I mean, every single time we have a family question, I know Beatrice is always calling Misty, which she asked that if, you know, what time was the live stream? So Misty, if you're watching, hello. Can someone say hi, Misty?
Yeah, she asked, what time are you? Yeah, that's right.
But I know that's Beatrice, you know, all these different things. But what are some intentional things that you and your wife have made in your life, even early on, that has led you guys into just a beautiful, healthy marriage?
Yeah, well, just to give you like one advice that I remember a few years after we got married, you know, I was with one of my mentors, Mike. I flew to Houston, Texas, just to meet with him and his wife, me and Misty. That's it. Sometimes you're just gonna sacrifice and go. I remember one time, I'm gonna detour a little bit, come back. I remember one time, I flew to Lima, Peru with Misty to have coffee with Pastor Robert, you know, because I just needed to pick his brain, talking about mentorship. Yeah. I just needed to learn from him, you know, what is he doing? Because we're about to start going to Latin America and all that. So sometimes it's most little things like that, man. It's just, you know, being intentional. But going back to that, I remember when we flew to Houston, Texas, and I asked Mike in his backyard, so tell me about the church thing. I was about to plant a church, and I heard a lot of stories about it. Just tell me a little bit about the church context. Just give me some advice. You know, I was hungry to really receive anything. Just talk to me, you know. But one of the things that he told me is like, well, Danny, remember, people is always gonna need you guys. Always gonna wanna meet with you guys and all that. And he shared actually a personal story, what happened when he was a pastor. And he's like, I'm talking to you guys with their experience, like, you always protect your marriage, Misty. You have to be very intentional and just have your time together. Even with people, you know, asking you to go and hang out and all that, you have to be very disciplined. And one of the things that he literally told me is like, when you're gonna have a date night with her or something, and somebody calls you to do something, you just said, hey, I have an appointment. I have an appointment. And just check this out. When you say you have an appointment, they're not gonna ask anything else, right? That's it. I have an appointment. But if you said, I'm gonna have dinner with my wife, oh, come on, Danny, you can go with her Saturday, come on and hang out, you know? So but anyways, that was very good because, you know, from that, we just really, really implementing our marriage about their day nights. Every week, we just go out. Now we're doing, you know, brunch, you know, brunch morning kind of. So every Wednesday, we have our time. We drop off the kids to school. I have 1,000 things to do, and also she has a lot of things to do, but that's Wednesday, that 2 hours on Wednesday, that's her time. So different seasons of the marriage, and before it was, you know, Fridays or Tuesday, whatever it works, but it was something that it just really kind of keep us together. Yeah. Really kind of keep, you know, because that's our time. It's nobody else's time, that's our time, and you have to protect that. Yeah. And I can tell you that right now, that's probably one small thing that it made a big difference in our family.
Yeah, come on, can we make some noise, right?
Yeah.
Like just the discipline. I love that you use the word discipline, right?
Yeah.
The discipline of having a date night. How many married people in the room? Can you stretch your hand up? Alrighty.
There we go.
We'll pray for you, right? You know, come at the end and he'll pray for you. And I love, again, the word discipline because it's not going to come natural. right? When you're planning for the future, the healthy future that you're dreaming of, things won't come natural. You just don't go into accident into healthy, right? You have to be really intentional. And for all the single people in the room, right, this is a great thing for you to catch a vision for, right? Like, it's not only for married people, like, hey, we need to do that, right? And elbowing your spouse, right? It is for the single people, right? To go, man, that is the dream, right? To have disciplines in our marriage that are going to lead us into a healthy future, right? So I honor you for that, right? Because it is a discipline. I know, when we lived in DC, it's like, hey, can we meet, right? It was like, hey, I have an appointment, right? Or when we call you guys, it's like you are disciplined with your time, with your appointments. You're sowing into where it's going to matter, right? Where it's going to have a big impact. So yeah, let's make those decisions of discipline. What are some key things? And again, I love this about you. I love, like, every single time we talk about parenting, there's different practical things that I'm pulling from. And even this weekend, right, it's like really cool, kind of like a new thing that you shared. But what are some, like, just in parenting, some key important decisions that you've made and done just in parenting?
Yeah, in reference to our kids, one of the things that I learned through the years, like before, like now you have a lot of information. You have the podcast, you have YouTube interviews, a lot of books, which is awesome. It's so, this is a generation of information. You have so many options to choose from. When we got married, I'm gonna sound like an old man, but I didn't have that. No podcast, forget it, So it was like reading. So I remember, my wife, she's the one that I learned from her about the habit of reading. So, I remember she started bringing books to me about parenting. And I was like, come on, babe, like, really? Right? Just be honest, right? But we started reading about parenting and about, different kinds. And I remember in one of the books, it talks about, communication with your kids. And one of the things that I did growing up, and in this case, for example, with Michelle, I did it with the three of them, but with Michelle, she's 20, in a deep level, talking about emotions. And one of the two questions that I used to ask her, you can make notes on this, your daughter and your kids. Like, she was probably 6, 7 years old, and I remember two questions almost every day. And say, hey, honey, how you doing? Yeah, Papa. Well, tell me about your day. Like, what makes you happy? And she started thinking. I remember, like, okay, Papi, she was 7, man. She's 22. She was 7. So she shared with me, like, something that really makes her, made her happy. But then in the same thing, and I said, okay, so now tell me something that made you sad. Oh, okay. And then she just shared with me something that made her happy. Somebody stole a, popsicle from her bag or something, silly. But for her, that was her reality. Now, you can see that every year. Every year. Something happened last year. So with Michelle, I don't have to sugarcoat it. I said, hey, how we're doing? We're doing. To the point. Beautiful. But it wasn't like, from last year. It's been more than a decade. So mission-wise, we just go and talk about everything, anytime, anywhere. Just go to the, so that we have